Aileen from AileenCooks.com, and I am doing some freezer cooking today. So I thought it would be a good time to get back on here and share with you one of the meals that I really like to make for my family. I've made it many, many times. I made it for my freezer cooking challenge when we were getting ready to welcome Allison into the world. Excuse me, and I'm making it again tonight, and I am making a double batch so I can put one in my freezer. So the meal I'm making is taco stuffed shells. So it's like the Italian stuffed shells, but with taco meat and cream cheese and refried beans. So you can see, looks kind of funky, but that's it. I cooked up some ground turkey and taco seasoning and cream cheese and refried beans and cooked it all in there, and then I cooked up some shells, and I'm going to show you how I make it and talk about freezer cooking a little bit. So let me see if I can get my, there we go. So you're not going to see my face, but you'll see my hands. So the first thing we do, I just have these foil pans. I really like them for freezer cooking, and you can get them at the Dollar Tree and probably other dollar stores if you don't have a Dollar Tree near you. Usually a 2-pack for $1. So that's 50 cents a pop versus like $3 at Lucky. So Dollar Tree is the best place. These are 13 by 9 inch pans. Any kind of lasagna pan you have on, it doesn't have to be this exact size, but big enough to hold the shells. So the first thing I'm going to do, instead of using a red sauce, I'm using salsa, chunky salsa. So I'm just going to put some salsa in my pans, in both pans, because I'm making, like I said, a double batch. One's going to go in my freezer. I'm going to prepare it up into the point of baking, and then just cover it in a few layers of foil and freeze it. And this is really good for busy nights. You do have to prepare a little bit ahead of time. I really recommend pulling it out the night before if you can, or else you can bake it in the oven from frozen. It just takes like over an hour, so it's the only downside. But if you know you're, like, if you kids have soccer or something, or you're just gonna be home late, you're working, you wanna have a good comforting meal, this is really good. It also is good to make a double batch if you're having company, because it feeds a crowd. So we're gonna get right in here. I'm sorry you can't see my face, but you can see my hands. I'm going to get this taco meat out. And what I'm going to do is just scoop the taco meat right into the shells. And it's kind of a different color because I cooked it, like I said, I started it by browning its ground turkey. And I browned it like you normally would for making taco meat, and then added the taco seasoning. And I actually, this is 2 pounds of turkey meat. Usually use 1 pound per casserole. And you use 1 packet of taco seasoning, but I actually buy the taco seasoning in bulk at Costco because I use it so much for so many different things, and it's just worth it to me to always have it on hand. So it's a 1/4 cup if you have it in bulk, or if you make your own, or else just a packet of taco seasoning per pound. We're just going to fill them all up here. Some of the other things that I really like for freezer cooking for dinners are soups. I've shared a lot of soup recipes lately. It's just that time of year. Soups are great. You can freeze them in freezer bags, or you can freeze them like in jars. Just don't overfill them or they will crack. I've had that happen, unfortunately. Or just big freezer-friendly plastic containers work really well if you want to feed your whole family. But if you want individual servings, just use a pint glass, like a mason jar, pint size. And then they defrost relatively quickly. Like if you pull it out the night before, you can bring it for lunch. So that really makes a really good dish. But pretty much any pasta casserole is going to be a great freezer-friendly meal. And I love freezer cooking. Our freezer meals are almost all gone from when we prepped for Allison, which is good because she's going to be 4 months old tomorrow. So we wanted to use them up. We have a lasagna left in there. And now I'm just restocking just because I'm making this. Why not take the time to make 2? Because it really doesn't take that much more time. And as you can see, it takes me a while to stuff these shells. It is messy. My hands are like yucky, but it's good food. It's not raw meat. It's delicious. You could just eat the meat if you wanted to. So now I'm just freezing the extra just so we have it for when we're busy. My husband's going to be working a lot of overtime in March and April, so I'm starting to think about freezer cooking again. I know that's a little bit far out, but man, having 3 kids, it's thrown me for a loop. Feeding them dinner, I can't just feed them chicken nuggets every single night that he's working late. So I'd like to have something on hand. So I'm almost done stuffing these shells, and then I'm going to show you what's going to go on top. So after I finish stuffing these shells, we're going to top it with more salsa and cheese. Lots and lots of cheese. Usually I use like a Mexican blend. That's the recipe that's on my website. It says to use the Mexican blend. I bought a 2-pack of shredded cheddar from Costco, so that's what we're using today. Because my husband has gotten the freezer cooking bug, and he's been making his own breakfast burritos for breakfast at work. So he's been using cheese for that, and I figured I'd use the rest for this double batch of taco stuffed shells, which again is turkey meat, cream cheese, refried beans, salsa on the bottom. Almost done stuffing these shells, and then we're going to put salsa and cheese on top, and then one awesome secret ingredient, not really secret, but surprise ingredient on the tippy top that makes it delicious. And I'm pretty sure it's why my kids eat it. So we've got these shells. They're all stuffed. Now we're going to add more salsa. And I just really like the color of the chunky salsa. I love chunky salsa. My husband likes the restaurant style, but he tolerates it for meals like this. But I like how it has the bits of green. It just looks really pretty. Almost like Christmas. I'm going to rinse my hands real quick. Okay. Here is the cheese. Adding the cheese in. Add a good amount of cheese because, well, you want it to be cheesy, right? So the last ingredient is tortilla chips. You probably would have guessed because it's tacos. You kind of need the taco part. So it's taco meat in the shells, and then we're going to just break up some tortilla chips on top. Now, because the tortilla chips are on here, you want the casserole to be covered for part of the baking time. I'm back. So you want to have the casserole covered for part of the baking time so that they don't burn. So you bake it at 350 for 15 minutes and then covered with foil, and then you take the foil off and you bake it for another 15 minutes. And then it's ready to go. Now, if you want to freeze this, you're just going to cover it with foil right now. Stuffed, layered, everything, and stick it in your freezer and make sure you write down on the foil what it is, or you might forget. And then just add like 30 to 40 minutes bake time on there. So cook it for like an hour and 15 minutes, I'd say, and then check it and make sure it's cooked all the way through. Or defrost it in your freezer overnight. So pull it out the night before, or in your fridge. Pull it out the night before and then make it for dinner that night. So like a full 24 hours it will be defrosted, and then you can just bake it for 30 minutes. So one of my favorite freezer meals, taco stuffed shells. You can get the recipe at AileenCooks.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.